Live and syndicated on your public and national broadcaster, UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Do you have a shop, restaurant, bar, garage, washing bay, or any other small business? URA reminds you to pay your presumptive tax before 30th June. This tax depends on your sales turnover, payable once every financial year. Remember, your presumptive tax is not the same as the trading license fees you pay to city or municipal councils. Simply dial *285# or pay using mobile money, bank, or bank agents. For assistance, call 0800-217-000 or 0800-117-000 or WhatsApp on 0772-140000.
Thank you for paying your taxes.
This is UBC Radio. Tune in for news.
At UBC Radio, we bring you Uganda's latest news and information.
Focus on Parliament.
What we need to do, the Prime Minister must give us the position before we finalize the budgeting process.
Enjoy sports. The environment. Politics.
The mission we have is socio-economic transformation.
Health. Entertainment. Updates in education. On the farm. Keep tuned into UBC Radio, inspiring you.
Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns. UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio. Don't miss UBC Radio Ground Zero every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We host credible and relevant guests to discuss pertinent issues of national importance aimed at addressing people's concerns.
As a country, if we don't fight this vice of corruption seriously and with honest opinion without any bias, things will not be good for us.
UBC Radio Ground Zero, right here on UBC Radio.
UBC, ensure that the information you give out is factual but also objective, balanced, and complies with the legal and policy requirements for the media.
Ground Zero program is always live, loud and clear, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on UBC Radio, Mutebo FM, West Nile FM, and Magic 100 FM, and live stream on YouTube. You can also listen to the repeated broadcasts of UBC Ground Zero every Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. UBC Radio, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome to Ground Zero Season 2, a show that brings you in-depth discussion ranging from politics, health, finance, sports, and so much more. Ground Zero Season 2.
Hello, dear listener. You're most welcome to this edition of your UBC Ground Zero. We're broadcasting live on 98.0 FM. 98.0 FM, UBC Radio in Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, Nile Avenue, Nakasero Hill. We're also broadcasting live on other radio stations, UBC Table covering eastern parts of this country, Mbale, Soroti, Iganga, Jinja, Utebo, and the nearby districts. We're also live and clear on Magic 100 FM, covering central parts of this country, and also live and clear on Western Isle FM, covering Western Isle sub-region, Lango and Achel sub-regions, and Karamoja sub-regions, and Deso sub-regions. Ampaire Amon Nabtega is my name, and I'm glad to have joined you, our dear listener, those who have been part of us from the time we started broadcasting in the morning. And thank you for choosing UBC radios as your most favorite radio stations, and Ground Zero as your radio most favorite radio program. We bring you another important edition of UBC Ground Zero this morning, and it is a very big privilege and honor that we've been joined by a special team of guests who are going to educate us, transform us, and inspire us as the people of Uganda. We're going to be discussing issues of national importance, and we're going to be joining you, and you're going to be part of us. And for those of you who would love to be part of us and part of this conversation, you're going to reach us on 776 511 426, or you will send your messages on 0701 24 26 47. We are going to discuss Kiswahili. We're going to talk about Kiswahili as a language and how important it is going to be to the people of Uganda as a nation, to the people of East Africa as a region, to Africa as a continent, and to the whole world. You know that Kiswahili is one of the most spoken language in the world, the second and most spoken word language in Africa. And most presidents, leaders, and many professionals have always called upon the people of East Africa and Africa to uphold and embrace this language as a unifying factor. In the studios of UBC, I'm glad to have been joined Mwalimu Dr. Lubuka Yunus, coming from Chambogo University as the president of National Kiswahili Association. Mwalimu, welcome.
Thank you.
We also have in the studios of UBC Abraham Kubakurunji Angungu, is the lecturer from Bishop Stewart University and Mwalimu Mtare School. Welcome, Mwalimu. In the studios of UBC, we also have a privilege to have Honorable Neo Jackson Mtala, is the chairperson NRM Youth Volunteers, and is coming from Chaka South, Chejegwa District. Most welcome. You have heard the big people that I have in the studios who are going to be educating us, transforming us, and inspiring us as the people of Uganda in as far as Kiswahili language is concerned. We are discussing Kiswahili and multilingualism and looking at how we can achieve more together as the people of Uganda, together as the people of East Africa. And this has been the theme for this year's second East Africa World Kiswahili Day, which has been celebrated here in Uganda. And we are privileged as a country to host this important event, which took place in Uganda. And we started 5th when we had a marathon from started at Makerere University, and on 6th we had a symposium at the Hotel Africana, and yesterday 7th July we also had World Kiswahili Day celebrated at the same event, Hotel Africana. Let me first get my guests greet you and introduce themselves, and then we continue with our discussion. Requesting my audience and my management for the first time in this program, I would love to use Kiswahili in your introduction. Since we are talking about Kiswahili, you are free to use any language though, but in case you would love, because I have Mwalimu, I can see how you're smiling when I said you may use Kiswahili. So Mwalimu, karibu.
Mfawidhi wa kipindi cha leo, kama nilivyotambulishwa, jina langu ni Mwalimu Dr. Lubuka Yunus, mhadhiri wa Kiswahili katika Chuo Kikuu cha Chambogo. Muhimu zaidi, mimi ni rais wa chama cha Kiswahili cha Taifa Uganda cha Kitao. Nakaribisha wasikilizaji kwenye kipindi hiki, na nimefurahi sana kabisa kuwa miongoni mwa wale ambao watajadili masuala ya Kiswahili hapa nchini kufuatia siku ya Kiswahili ya maadhimisho yake duniani jana. Asante sana, na nina matumaini tutajifunza mengi, tutabadilishana mawazo na kila mmoja atanufaika na tusukume gurudumu la Kiswahili pamoja. Shukran.
Shukran and karibu sana mwalimu.
Asante.
Hii ni UBC Ground Zero and tunawapenda sana.
Asante na sisi
Karibu
tunawapenda.
Abraham.
Asante sana ndugu Amon kwa kipindi cha leo na wasikilizaji. Nasema asalamu alaikum. Hamjambo wasikilizaji. Bwana Yesu asifiwe kwa waumini. Tunashukuru Mungu siku ya leo. Mimi jina langu ni Abraham Kubakurunji cha Ngungu. Mimi ni mwalimu wa Kiswahili huko Mbarara katika chuo kikuu cha Bishop Stewart. Tena nimefundisha Kiswahili.
Strategic security.
Nilianza kufundisha Kiswahili mwaka 2003 na sasa niko huko Ontari School. Naleta salamu kutoka upande wa magharibi mwa Uganda, kutoka kwa familia yangu ya Changungus. Tunawapenda nyote wasikilizaji wa UBC. Asanteni katika mambo ya Kiswahili, kupenda mambo ya Kiswahili. Tunaona Mungu anazidi kutupenda kama nchi ya Uganda. Tunasukuma gurudumu la Kiswahili kama ndugu yangu alivyosema. Asanteni sana. Mubarikiwe wakati mnasikiliza kipindi chetu pendwa. Asante sana.
Asante sana and karibu.
Asante.
Honorable Ndio.
Ndugu Amon, but I request to differ from the language.
It's okay.
We've begun introducing ourselves for the interest of all our viewers or our listeners who may be not understanding Kiswahili, but of course they are eager to understand. My name is Ndio Jackson Mitara. I am a son of Byarhanga Silvano Mitara Amoti, a resident of Chaka South in Chagegwa district. I am a chairperson of NRM Youth Volunteers and a member of East African Kiswahili Commission. I am glad to be part of this program. Asante sana.
Asante sana and karibu kwa UBC Ground Zero.
Asante sana.
It is a very big privilege and honor to have you gentlemen on the show, and I believe that the people of Uganda are going to learn more from this discussion. We have ended a 3-day events, and Uganda was privileged to host the second East Africa World Kiswahili Day. That's why I said you can introduce yourselves in Kiswahili, because we are trying to promote the language not only in Uganda but also in the region of East Africa. Ministry of East Africa Affairs, the Kiswahili Commission from Arusha, East African Community Secretariat, the ministries, and all the partners who made it possible to have these celebrations are done in Uganda and were successful. I am glad that you are all participants, and I'm going to get your perception on how the day was, especially yesterday, but also the previous days. But before we talk about the event, for the people of Uganda who did not participate, I would love to know, since you introduced yourselves in Kiswahili, I did not pick that very well because I'm still learning the language. I would love to know where you're coming from, what you do in those institutions that you represent, and how the people of Uganda are benefiting from you. Mwalimu?
Very much once again. I introduced myself as Mwalimu Dr. Lubuka Yunus, a lecturer of Kiswahili in Chambogo University, Department of Languages and Communication Studies, that is under Faculty of Arts and Humanities. At the same time, I'm the president of the National Kiswahili Association, an association which was formed in 2012, and we have been advancing the Kiswahili cause since that time to date. We have done a lot in as far as promotion, advocacy of Kiswahili in Uganda, in different meetings, forums. So I think I can go ahead and talk about the event, or briefly. That is the introduction. In as far as the celebrations are concerned, the programmer has rightly put it that we started the celebrations on 5th in Makerere. Maybe to put the record correct, we didn't have a marathon, though it was among the programs that we were supposed to do. But on 5th, we had a workshop with the youth. They were deliberating about Kiswahili, because these are people who are going to be the future leaders, who are going to be in the positions of making policies and implementing. So in relation to the theme of the conference, the commission saw it important to engage the youth so that they can bring in their views how best Kiswahili can be developed in Uganda. So that was it. And we had professors from Tanzania, professors from Kenya, doctors from Uganda, professors from Burundi, from the partner states. And they were really productive in guiding the discussion, and the youth eventually liked the day. Then on 6th, we had now the symposium whereby we had the same professors now deliberating on Kiswahili issues globally, Africa-wise, East Africa, and Uganda. So these deliberations are intended to see how best Kiswahili can be promoted, developed in partner states without compromising or antagonizing other languages which we have on board. Remember the theme. The theme, the theme of the Kiswahili Day was Kiswahili and multilingualism, achieving more together. So the debate basically was rotating around that. Having Kiswahili on board does not mean that other languages cease to exist. We are looking at how best can we develop Kiswahili and benefit from its position in Uganda, East Africa, Africa, and globally, as we also coexist with other languages. That was the discussion, and such symposiums help to inform policy, especially at the East African level. When they are making policies, they consider such debates, and the resolutions are made. Then yesterday, it was the climax, whereby we had the chief guest, Right Honorable Prime Minister Nabanja, who represented His Excellency the President of Uganda. And the day was colorful. I think for us as Kiswahili fraternity in Uganda, I will say partly we benefited, because all eyes were on Uganda in as far as Kiswahili internationally is concerned. In that day, yesterday, we had all delegates from the partner states. We had visitors from Africa, because even we had our members of parliament, IALA, even our own members of parliament here in Uganda. It was really very good because these are the key stakeholders when it comes to policy formulation and implementation. So we are happy to have them, and for sure the day was very nice, and the message from His Excellency was very clear that we need Kiswahili for regional cohesion, trade, as we are going to discuss. Of course, we are going to unpack all this, but briefly, I can say that the day was colorful, apart from a few challenges here and there, as we are going to also share.
Interesting.
Thank you so much.
Abraham?
Asante sana. Once again, my brother Amon, for the invitation first, and considering that this talk show looks at Kiswahili issues. My name is Abraham Kubakurunji Changungu. I'm a lecturer of Kiswahili at Bishop Stewart University in Mbarara. I've also been a teacher at Ntari School since 2005. And I'm born again. I love the Lord. Needless to say. I want to thank you for the talk show and leading us well in the introductions of this program. And you have brought out a very important function of yesterday. To me, it is a very big step in this country, in Uganda, and East Africa. We have all heard about East African community. We have heard about the use of Kiswahili in Africa. You have talked about it's a language of wider communication on the global platform. You have talked about its relevance on the continent. I want to tell you, with Uganda, it is a big, big milestone. Our dear listeners, we have reached a level that Uganda is considered to host regional celebrations. The entire close to 10 countries were represented yesterday in this week's event, or events throughout. The other day when we were at Makerere presenting papers, the other day when we were at Hotel Africana presenting papers, different professors, like my brother put it, and yesterday the climax of the celebrations. To see that Uganda is hosting, is bringing all these dignitaries together for the cause of Kiswahili. Some of you could think Kiswahili belongs to Tanzania, Kiswahili belongs to Zanzibar, Kiswahili belongs to Kenya, Kiswahili, most of you hear it from Congo. Now, they pass here, they go to Congo. Yet, actually, we have very many Kiswahili teachers in this country. We have very many speakers in this country of Kiswahili. You go to the north, you find people speaking Kiswahili. Go to the east, go to the south. All schools are teaching Kiswahili. All secondary schools are teaching Kiswahili. About 10 universities in this country are teaching Kiswahili. Now, being entrusted with regional celebrations. Moreover, the second round. The first round was Zanzibar. Now the second turn is taken up by Uganda. We want to thank God so much for the leadership of this country, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda, and your cabinet and members of parliament. This is a very big step. We want to appreciate you. Amid these very many challenges, we want to thank you that you have pulled it off very well. And all countries have gone back, all delegates, South Sudan, Burundi, and others, representative of African Union and UNESCO, they went appreciating that indeed Kiswahili is alive in Uganda and it has taken root, and we are destined for better things. When the policies and all those are put in place, the Kiswahili Council, we are going to discuss all those, but I want to tell you that for a country that people have not been knowing much, when actually there is a lot more, it is very good publicity. It has been brought to people that really matter. and it's not out there where they thought. It is actually within our homestead, in our households, and our children are speaking it, and our members of parliament are speaking it, and teachers are working on it, and therefore it is time that we embrace it.
Interesting.
Before I sign out, I want to mention one thing on the theme of yesterday's function: Kiswahili and multilingualism achieving more together. For those who think that Kiswahili is coming to kill your languages, this time it is Kiswahili and multilingualism. All languages are involved. The Kiswahili is not coming to kill your mother tongue. We are achieving more together. So when you learn Kiswahili, you have learned another language, you have learned French, you have learned English, you have learned your Kinyankore, you have known your Kigisu. Tafadhali, jifunze pia Kiganda, jifunze pia lugha nyingine. Learn another language so that you are achieving more together. We invite you to join the Kiswahili fraternity in promoting our language, African languages. We are running for English, we are running for German. Kiswahili is African. We are achieving more together.
Interesting.
Asante sana.
Ndio. I'm learning also. And I believe before we end this show, I'm going to be having 100 words in Kiswahili.
Kabisa. Vizuri sana.
Honorable Ndio.
Sana. I thank you once again and for taking a privilege of inviting me to this wonderful show, a very vital show for Africans, East Africans and Ugandans. I thank you very much. As my name sounds or goes Ndio, I myself, before I was born, I was already there in Swahili. So Kiswahili, I feel it is part of me, and if it is part of me, it should be part of us all, even before we learn it.
And in Kiswahili, that word is there, Ndio.
And that, yeah, definitely. Kiswahili, Ndio in Kiswahili means yes. Means yes, means I'm yes, means I'm there. I'm here, yes. So I want to give you a brief background of Kiswahili. As a common saying goes, that Kiswahili was born in Zanzibar, grew up in Tanzania, fell sick in Kenya, died in Uganda,
and was buried in DRC Congo.
The funeral service was in Rwanda. It was buried in Congo.
And resurrected where?
It has never resurrected.
But Jesus Christ, where he was, he was killed, is in the same place where he got resurrected from. So if it died from Uganda, maybe it is going to be resurrected from the same Uganda.
Definitely. I want to assure Ugandans or Africans that are listening to us that Kiswahili is going to be born, or it is resurrecting in Uganda. And once it has resurrected, it is going to live like never before. Because we are going to embrace it, and we ask all of you to embrace it. As the theme goes, that Kiswahili and multilingualism, we are not advocating for it to kill our own languages, but we are saying if we learn Kiswahili, we are going to ease very many means of communication with other people, mostly our neighbors. As a language spoken in swath of land, spreading right from North Mozambique of South Somalia, it was born in Zanzibar. It is perhaps not surprising that within its load of linguistic wealth, as words not only from Arabic, Portuguese, English, German, but also the indigenous coastal Bantu languages, which first came in contact with foreign explorers. Not to forget the tribes of East Africa, hinterland as far as Lingala, who have had a profound effect on its evolution. We all see Kiswahili most of the words are derived from our own Bantu languages. So it is our language. These were a mixture of very many Bantu words that came up with one language. So you should never think that speaking Swahili is speaking a foreign language. Speaking Swahili actually is speaking your own advanced language. Yes. So I want to advocate to you people that feel comfortable speaking or learning Kiswahili. It will not kill your own language, but it will help you discover more words that will help you, will be used with to help you in your daily life. The story of Kiswahili became distinctive when the colonials chose to standardize it by the Zanzibar dialect known as Kuinguja. Yes, Kiinguja. Unguja is Swahili for Zanzibar. Since the island then was the commercial and cultural epicenter of the region, its naturally spread towards the mainland in all directions, such as it became the national and official language of Tanzania. Parliament sessions are conducted in Swahili there. The national language in Kenya, widely spoken in Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Congo, and partly in South Sudan. So strong has been the influence of Swahili that in Tanzania, the new generation in Tanzania have had no fluency in their own mother tongues. Different dialects of Swahili have become a language preference other than of learning in many areas. In Kenya, Sheng, a bastardized, fast evolving version that incorporates English and tribal languages, thriving on slangs, has literally become the lingua franca among the youth of the extent that the most popular music genres like Genge and Kapuka are basically the fuel that drives Sheng.
All right.
So
here in that,
here in Uganda, for a time its turbulent history, Swahili became the language of soldiers and robbers. You can imagine. That's why, in my opinion, that's why I think most people fear to use Kiswahili. But what I want to assure you with its birth, with its resurrection here in Uganda, it is no longer a language of soldiers and robbers.
All right.
As they quote.
Interesting.
Be free. Let it be part of you. Soldiers are also human beings. And these other people they are talking about, robbers, are no more in Uganda. Uganda has a lot of peace. I think this one who quoted this one was, I think this was the time of Idi Amin and Obote. But with our government, the government of His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, there are no more things like that.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Ndu.
In conclusion, in conclusion, I urge all Ugandans to embrace Kiswahili wherever we are, despite of our ethnicity and political background, tribe. Let it be a unifying factor, first for all us Ugandans and for all Africans.
All right.
I thank you.
Thank you too. I must thank you for the detailed introduction and presentation. At least I believe the listener has an idea of what the event or the activities that took place from 5th to 6th to 7th when Uganda hosted the second World Kiswahili Day at Hotel Africana. We are doing everything that we could as the country, all partner states and East Africa as a community and the region to promote Kiswahili. Most countries started it a long time ago. As you remember, Kenya had it in 1964. Uganda, we have just made it official language just in 2000, is it 2005 or 2007? And Burundi had it some time back in 2015, and Rwanda, if I'm not mistaken. Zanzibar has been using Kiswahili from the time they started knowing that the people of Zanzibar. There are more efforts, but a Ugandan would say most of us think that it is a unifying factor. But I would say I can use English to communicate to a Kenyan. I can use English to communicate to a northern Ugandan or someone who is coming from Kasese, southern parts of this country. Why should I learn Kiswahili? How significant? Why should I struggle? After all, I've been doing my business using Uganda, using my little English I know. I am not a soldier to learn Kiswahili. Mwalimu, you've been teaching this language for some time. Why should the people of Uganda take more efforts from an individual level to household effort as a community? Because we are preaching this, but we are not coming to realistic part of it. If you met 10 people on the road in 1 kilometer, at least one person will be knowing Kiswahili, and the man will not say, will tell you it is none of my business. How can we make it everyone's business?
Okay. Thank you for that question. But before I answer you directly, allow me to comment on Honorable's submission about the point of Kiswahili as the language of soldiers. You have also talked about it. So my question is, are soldiers not human beings? If they use Kiswahili, what's wrong with that? Most importantly, soldiers, apart from the history now, the history of Idi Amin, Obote, etc., but any other UPDF currently, soldiers have kept Kiswahili alive in Uganda. For us now to talk about Kiswahili, they have curated it. They have kept it for us. Yes. So it is a credit to UPDF. And when you say that Kiswahili is spoken by soldiers, that is, so what? Yes, it is very good. So we give them a very big thank for keeping Kiswahili alive in Uganda. Thank you, UPDF. Number 2, I take you back to a simple geography of our country. I don't know, P4, that Uganda is a landlocked country. Simple geography. Countries which are surrounding Uganda, all of them speak Kiswahili. It is a fact which you cannot do away with. Now, that is why Kiswahili has stayed here for so many years with no deliberate efforts to develop it. That is why it has been there, because our neighboring countries speak the language, and there is no way how we can avoid interacting with our neighbors. Congolese cut out their trade from here. They cross from Uganda, they cross from Congo through Uganda to Kenya. Tanzanians, Rwanda, Burundi. So by all means, Kiswahili here in Uganda, we have to learn it, whether we want it or not, because of that geography now. Number 2, before I also answer you, I take this opportunity to thank Right Honorable Alitwala Kadaga. She is a true leader. She's a Pan-Africanist, because all along, these are the deliberate efforts that we have been lacking in Uganda for Kiswahili to take off. if we can get more of the right honorable who put deliberate efforts to see that Kiswahili is promoted, then it will take a second to have Kiswahili spread and spoken confidently in Uganda for its use. Now, you ask me, why should you learn Kiswahili or why should you speak Kiswahili? The list is endless. Yes, you have your Uganda. You can do trade business in Uganda using Uganda. But I don't think it will be easy for you with Uganda to do business in Tanzania. And business is not only in Dar es Salaam. You go deep, those villages, Mwanza, Segerema, how will you use Uganda there? How will you use Uganda in DRC? So Uganda and other local languages, fine. That's why we are talking about multilingualism. They are good for their local benefits. But when it comes to, for example, regional level, then these other local languages cease to be relevant. And Kiswahili takes the center stage. Remember, it is our own, because by constitution, Kiswahili is the second official language, which is now, again, a lingua franca for East Africa. At the same time, it is the only African language which is identified by African Union. That is at African level. Now here we are talking about Kiswahili internationally. It is, yes, UN Charter, the only African language which is recognized internationally. Our own from Uganda here. If there is anyone who is saying that Kiswahili is not our own here in Uganda, that person should come out and then we also talk about it. You can see the status of Kiswahili at all these levels, national, regional, Africa-wise, then globally. Now, is Kiswahili, in speaking it and learning it effectively, it will unlock opportunities. It will unlock opportunities for business. We are looking at any language with its vocations, not only speaking for the sake of speaking and listening, but we are looking at language as a tool for socio-economic transformation, right? How are we using Kiswahili for socio-economic transformation? It is a language for peace. It is a language for business in Uganda, East Africa, Africa. It is a language which is promoting cultural diversity. Yes, when I go to, for example, Kenya, I speak Kiswahili. I interact with the Kikuyus. They have their culture. I have my culture, but we are using one language, and that one now promotes respect at the end of it all and peace, because we are looking at ourselves as one people. The language is, in Kiswahili we say ni lugha ya Kiswahili ni nembo ya utambulisho. It is a language that identifies us as East Africans, as Africans. So the advantages of speaking and learning Kiswahili are endless, as I have already said. I was talking about the vocations. Come to now people who have decided to learn Kiswahili now as a language, apart from speaking it. One, job opportunities. These people are going to be translators. These people are going to be interpreters, multilingualism. These people are going to be authors. These people are going to be songwriters. These people are going to sing. You have seen our chameleon, by the way, we pray that he recovers quickly. Chameleon has really, we missed him yesterday. He was supposed to be with us because that one is evident that he has helped Kiswahili to grow.
That's a fact.
So you can see how he has made life easy. How he has, he's rich. He's rich. And why? Because he sings in Kiswahili. He releases a song today in Uganda. Tomorrow it is all over. It is all over. But you here in Ruchiga, Runyakitara, Runyankore, it will take only maybe when it is a piece. How would we call it? A masterpiece, or it is a hit. Only when it is a hit, that's when it will try to cross the borders. But otherwise, these songs will remain here in Uganda, and we are looking at the bigger market. In all circles. Then your song is only having the Ugandan market. It is not crossing borders. But
not even the whole of Uganda.
Yes.
In Western Uganda, if you are using Runyankore and Ruchiga,
yes. It will only remain in the circles of Banyankole.
Who understand the language.
Yes. So the market, Kiswahili, unlocks opportunities. The market is bigger, wider. Then I was disappointed this morning. I also happened to listen to one of the local TV radio stations that Kiswahili is not going anywhere. However much Right Honorable Kadaga does what, Kiswahili will remain stagnant. I think these are the issues we are talking about, the attitudes. I don't know, like a presenter in one of the local radio stations. That is why actually I want government to come up with policies on media, on all media in media houses in Uganda, or about Kiswahili. Yes, you might not speak it, but slot in programs, and when you are talking about it, promote it. But now you are there discouraging people that Kiswahili is not going anywhere. It is not helping us as Uganda. Really? Apart from showing ignorance as someone in the studio, because it means you have not read widely. You have not read widely, or you have your personal agenda, prejudice, which we don't want when we are looking at Kiswahili in relation to social economic transformation. We are not going to accept. Otherwise, everybody is welcome. This is a beautiful language. It is a beautiful language, and it is our own language. We have even words, for example, Mwami wanga agenze Safari. Safari is not Uganda, for example. That is Kiswahili. Multilingualism. Kiswahili will never kill our languages. Otherwise, Kiswahili will promote our languages instead. Languages live symbiotically. It is. We have stayed with English for all these years. To which extent has English killed our languages? And how come that our own language, that is Kiswahili, is a threat to the languages? How is it a threat to the languages? And yet we have, it is Bantu. Remember, he has given us the history. He has given us the history. Excuse me. Kiswahili is Bantu. Mukono, muguu, kuguru, jicho, liso. It is. Let me give the opportunity to other members to deliberate. We have a lot, and we are going to share.
Interesting.
About Kiswahili, this beautiful world language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Omar didn't put where he's sending a message from, but he's correcting me. He says Kiswahili in Kenya was a national language since 1964, and it was made official in 2010. Burundi made Kiswahili compulsory subject from primary school level in 2007, where Rwanda adopted it as an official language in 2015. Thank you, Omar, for the guidance. Abraham.
Yes.
You have, as someone advises, in 2007, Burundi had this. We are having about 15 years from then. Kenya, since 1964, they've been speaking Kiswahili. Zanzibar, it is part and parcel of them. Uganda, we have it in 2005, but we are not yet there. How can we interest the people of Uganda to speak this language? Mwarimu has told us why we need Kiswahili, but how can we now interest the people of Uganda to make it so attractive? You have had those people who are supposed to teach the people that are the ones leading them into discouragement and distraction. There is a lot that is spoken about the language. How can we make it attractive?
Asante sana ndugu Amon. How can we make it attractive? Why should we make it attractive? We have a methali ya Kiswahili. I want to teach people methali ya Kiswahili proverb. Chema chajiuza, kibaya chajitembeza.
What does that mean?
Chema chajiuza. A good thing sells itself.
Yes.
And if you are really bad, you don't need to advertise yourself. They will know you are really bad.
Indeed.
Chema chajiuza. Kiswahili is a beautiful thing. And I want to start by quoting our Ugandan constitution, the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, as amended. Article 6, clause 2. Article 6(2) states, Kiswahili shall be the second official language in Uganda, to be used in such circumstances as Parliament may by law prescribe. I want to be on record this morning that this is constitutional. Kiswahili shall be the second official language in Uganda, to be used in such circumstances as Parliament may by law prescribe. I want to, starting from your point, my brother Aman, I want to start from there. Let Parliament prescribe. That everywhere now be Kiswahili. Without the attraction that you are talking about, let there be and it will be. Because why attract? Kiswahili is cutting across. My brother, Dr. Rubuka Yunus, talked about our landlockedness. But here we are talking, why do we like limiting ourselves as Ugandans? Why do you want